All right, let's dive into Tuesdays with Morrie. You know, the book about Mitch Albom and his visits with his old professor, Morrie Schwartz, who's battling ALS. We've got pieces of the book itself, plus some background on like how huge it became. Ready for this? Exploring life, death, the whole shebang.
You hit it. It's Morrie using his limited time to teach us not just about dying, but really about squeezing every drop out of being alive. He gives you a roadmap.
Yeah, like, hey, everyone, we're all going to face this someday, so let's just talk about it. And he's got that mix of wisdom and humor.
Totally. Now, quick thing for anyone who's not familiar with ALS, it's this disease that attacks your nerves, paralyzes you bit by bit. Imagine losing your muscles, your voice, even breathing on your own. It's scary stuff.
And Morrie just tackles it head on, throws himself a living funeral while he can still enjoy the party. And not morbid, more like he wanted that connection, hear the love from people while he was still here.
Precisely. It was about, like, no regrets, living in the now. And that choice to be so open about it all, it got people's attention. Remember those Nightline interviews with Ted Koppel?
Oh, yeah. Morrie was sharp, even talking about heavy stuff. Called Koppel a narcissist right there on TV, but playful, you know. And by being so frank about his physical decline, like needing help in the bathroom, stuff people avoid talking about, he made us face it.
Challenged what we think is normal, made us uncomfortable. And those interviews weren't just for the public. They kickstarted Morrie reconnecting with Mitch, his former student. Hadn't talked much in 16 years.
That part always gets me. Mitch sees Morrie on Nightline facing this terminal thing, and he has to reach out. Shows that even when you think you've drifted, those strong bonds can come back.
And that reconnection becomes the core of the book. Mitch starts going to see Morrie every Tuesday, just like back in college. They create this space for real talk, thinking things through.
It's their ritual, tuning out the world and getting to what matters. And Morrie's big on listening, like truly being there with the person. So different from how we communicate now, phones buzzing, attention all over the place.
He saw that as part of a bigger issue, our culture being obsessed with more money, stuff, status. Like we're chasing those things instead of real connection.
He said we've been brainwashed into thinking those things equal happiness, but they leave you empty.
And the thing is, he lived that way. His house wasn't fancy, but it was full of love. Friends, family, former students always stopping by. Proof that human connection was richer than any possession.
Makes you think, right? Are we focused on the right things, so busy chasing more, that we're missing the simple joys, the love, the connections?
Big questions worth asking. And that leads to one of Morrie's most interesting ideas, this tension of opposites. He believed life is full of those pushes and pulls. Wanting success, but also wanting to be good. Fearing death, but also wanting to really live.
So it's navigating those, finding the balance.
Exactly. And what's so insightful is how he links this to death. He argues that by facing our own mortality, we can learn to really live in the present.
It's like the opposite of what you'd expect, right? You'd think facing death would make you cling to life harder. But for Morrie, it was about letting go of the fear, accepting it, and using that to savor every moment.
Even uses a lung capacity test as a metaphor. Stark reminder of his time running out. But instead of freaking out, he accepts the results. Knows his mind, his heart haven't shrunk.
That image of him taking that test, knowing what it means, but still finding joy, connection, that's heavy. It's like he's saying, even with limits, there's a ton to live for.
For sure. And that leads us to another key concept. Detachment. Acknowledging your emotions, feeling them fully, but not being ruled by them.
Okay, this one's tricky. How do you detach from something so intense, that you're going through?
Morrie gives a good example. He talks about his coughing fits. They got worse as his ALS progressed. Terrifying. He couldn't stop them, but he could detach from the fear they caused. Acknowledge it, feel it, then let it go. Focus back on the now.
Like riding a wave. Can't stop the wave, but you can surf it, yeah.
Perfect analogy. Emotions are like that. Temporary. They come and go. Detaching lets you experience the whole range without being swept away.
I'm seeing how this works, even when you're not, facing a terminal thing. How many times do we let fear or anger, even excitement, totally take over? What if we could feel them without letting them dictate what we do?
That's the core of what he's teaching. Inner peace, freedom, even when everything's chaotic. And he doesn't just talk about it. He loves it.
Right. That's what makes Tuesdays with Morrie so powerful. It's not just a philosophy book. It's a guy living it out, even facing incredibly tough stuff. He's a walking example of how to find meaning, purpose, even when life throws you a curveball.
And he does it with such grace, humor, it makes the lessons hit harder.
I'm ready to go deeper into his personal life, his family, friends, the people who shaped him. It's funny, one thing that really stuck with me is how Morrie changes how we think about aging. I mean, usually we're scared of getting older, but he saw it as growth, not decline.
Yeah, he owns it like it's a privilege. Time to think, share what you've learned, appreciate life even more. Even jokes about the physical stuff, compares himself to a baby needing help with basic things. It's like he's saying, hey, this is the ride, might as well laugh.
He flips the whole fear of depending on others. Not weakness, but a way to be vulnerable, connect deeper. And this ties into his whole thing about finding meaning, something we all wrestle with.
Oh, absolutely. World's obsessed with success, like money, status, achievements. Morrie's like, look inside. What are your values? Find purpose in what you contribute. Whatever your job is, doesn't matter.
Yeah, he talks about creating something that gives you meaning. Could be your work, relationships, art, helping others, matching your actions to your values, making things better, not chasing approval from outside.
And that brings us to this huge theme in Tuesdays with Morrie Love, the power of it. He was convinced it's the most important part of a meaningful life. Connects us, keeps us going, even goes beyond death.
He pushes us to build those loving bonds, say how we feel, really cherish the time with people we care about. And he doesn't just talk, he lives it. How he treats Mitch, his family, everyone who comes by.
Exactly. Health failing. And he's focused on those connections, making time for visits, deep talks, showing gratitude. Love isn't a luxury. It's essential to a good life.
And leaving a mark, a legacy, he makes us think about how we want to be remembered, what we leave behind. Find purpose in what we do, live by our values, make the world better.
It's not about the stuff you own, your status. It's the love you share, the kindness, the good you did for others. Shift away from being self-centered. See the bigger picture of where you fit in the world.
It's like that line, death ends a life, not a relationship. His love, his teachings, the impact, those things keep going. Which brings up another point, how he critiques society, that focus on material things, how disconnected modern life is.
As a sociologist, he got how social forces shape us, our
Right.
beliefs, actions. He felt like our culture makes us value things over people, competition over helping each other, finding happiness in what we achieve, not inner peace.
He saw that as a recipe for being unhappy, feeling like your life's pointless. And he's right, we're always being told we need more to be happy.
And he's like, question that, don't give in to the pressure, build a world that's kinder, more caring, based on connection, empathy, responsibility to each other.
It's a call to action. Become more aware, think critically, challenge the way things are, imagine a better future. We're all connected, and what we do matters.
Now, got to talk about something that makes people uncomfortable, especially in academics. Spirituality. Morrie wasn't religious in any specific way, but he saw spirituality as connecting to something bigger, finding meaning, purpose that goes beyond just you.
He found wisdom in different spiritual ideas, encouraged us to find our own way through meditation, prayer, being in nature, just quiet reflection, connect to that feeling of something greater.
He knew we're not just physical, but spiritual too. Nurturing that side is key to a full life. Got to recognize there's more to life than just what we see and touch.
And this gets to one of the most powerful parts of the book. It's never too late to learn, change, grow. Even facing death, Morrie's still evolving, challenging himself, open to new ideas.
Shows us that life's one big learning curve. Even at the end, you can still find meaning, understand yourself, the world better. He's proof that aging can be full of wisdom, growth, even spiritual awakening.
It's pretty inspiring. This guy, knowing he's dying, still open to learning. He's the embodiment of it's never too late to fix things, follow your passions, connect with people you love, be true to yourself.
Totally. So as we head into the final part of this deep dive, think about how Morrie's teachings about getting older, spirituality, finding meaning, fit into your own life. How do you feel about aging? What's spirituality to you?
Yeah.
And what makes your life feel meaningful?
And now we're at the last part of Tuesdays with Morrie. Morrie's world is getting smaller, physically, but his spirit, man, it's strong. Facing death, no fear, showing us how to accept it, how to be graceful.
Yeah, the way he sees death in these final days, it's amazing. Doesn't fight it, doesn't pretend it's not happening. He welcomes it. Like it's just part of life, a natural thing. It's hard for a lot of us to get that.
I keep thinking about that line. He says, I want to die serenely, peacefully, consciously. Not scared of dying, but of losing his awareness, his dignity.
And he was sure that detachment was the key to that peace. Not detaching from life itself or the people he loved, but from the fear, the anxiety around death.
So accepting it's happening, but not letting it, eat you up. Not letting those feelings call the shots.
Exactly. Not easy to do. But he explains it so well, talking about that last interview with Ted Koppel. It's heartbreaking seeing him so frail, but that message of love, compassion, it just shines through.
That interview gets to you. You can see how real their connection is. It's more than just reporter and subject. Remember when Koppel, he chokes up, tells Morrie, "You done good."
Man, that's raw, pure emotion. Shows how deeply Morrie affected him. He could connect with anyone on a human level, break down walls, make you feel compassion in the most unexpected places.
And he gives this powerful message in that interview, like he's pleading with the whole world. Be compassionate. Take responsibility for each other. If we just learn those lessons, this world would be so much better.
It's simple, but so deep, reminding us we're all tied together, got to look out for one another, build a world where love, kindness win out. Especially now, with everything so divided, people lacking empathy.
Morrie's legacy, it goes way beyond his lifetime. He gave us this guide for living a good life, no matter what you're going through.
Love, connection, purpose, forgiving yourself, being grateful for the small stuff, facing death without fear. He taught us all that.
And what's inspiring, he didn't just talk about it, he lived it, right up to the end. Still learning, growing, teaching.
Tuesdays with Morrie is like this wake-up call, reminding us it's never too late to do something good, make a difference. Morrie's life proves how powerful love is, compassion, the human spirit.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what lessons are you taking with you? What really stuck?
I hope people listening think about what he said about facing tough times with grace, opening yourself up to love, connection, finding your own meaning.
His story is a real gift. Reminds us that even when death is close, there's still so much to learn, so much to be grateful for.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into Tuesdays with Morrie. Hope his words keep inspiring you to live with purpose, love, and appreciate every moment.
Absolutely. And that's a wrap for this deep dive, folks. Until next time.